execution policy. So if you're familiar with PowerShell, you most probably know that you can set different execution policies for and how to execute PowerShell scripts. But important to know here is that this is actually not really a security protection feature, because what it does, it just simply makes sure that somebody is not accidentally executing some scripts that they should not be allowed. And in order to do that, you can use the set execution policy commandlet to set different levels, which could be restricted or all signed, which means all the scripts that you want to run have to be digitally signed, or remote signed, for example, unregistered, and so on. So there are different levels of execution policies. But again, keep in mind that this is really not a security feature in the real sense, because it protects or makes sure that you don't accidentally execute code. On the other hand, there are many ways around that, and I will show you a few examples in a second. And so it is better than nothing, I would say, but if you're going to use it, it really makes sense to roll that feature out via the group policy, because by doing that, you make sure that what you want to set as a default is really being used, and it cannot be overwritten by local settings, because it's the other way around. If you set a GPO, then this is, and somebody tries to change it on a local machine, it will not work, it will not be affected. So I want to show you that in a little demo. So I'm going to switch to my VMware, well, my VM, and then we will take a look at the possibilities that we have here. So I'll show you the right screen. All right, so here we are on a Windows 10 machine, and yeah, as I said, you can just take a look at the execution policy, and if you look in here, it's at the moment it is set, it's all signed. That means only scripts that are digitally signed I will able to run, and if I'm running a script that is not digitally signed, it will fail to execute. And if I'm taking a look at the policy again with the list parameter, we see here that there are different levels where execution policies can be configured, and this all signed comes from the machine policy. So there is a global policy in the backend that has been distributed to this machine, and even though on the local machine somebody tried to set the execution policy and bypass, which means there will be no restriction at all, it's not taking into effect, because the machine policy, the GPO functionality, is the one that really matters in this scenario. And to be able to set that, yeah, if you take a look at the GPO setting here under the computer configuration, there is one part about Windows PowerShell, and here you can actually configure the execution policy. So only allow signed scripts is equals to all signed. Allows local scripts and remote script only signed. This is the remote signed, and so on. So you can set that here. You can distribute this to the machines, and then it's configured. But what it actually means is that, for example, if you set the policy to remote signed, for example, and you're downloading a file from the internet, which we can do right here, which is a PowerShell script that actually would download all session videos and presentations from the Ignite of 2017. And if I'm saving that and I would try to execute that, then I should get some information here that said it's not digitally signed. That is the one thing, but it's also coming from the outside, so it's a remote file. And in order to change that, so to make sure, to make it possible for PowerShell to just also execute a PowerShell script even though it came from remote, but is very simple, because you can just here use the unplug feature, and then by doing that, you're kind of pretending that this is a local file, and then immediately a remote sign policy is just not working anymore for this script. So this is just one simple example that shows that really this execution policy, yes, you can do it, and it will prevent some things from happening, but it's not really a security feature in the real sense.